Loads of new accessories. Happy 15th birthday to JJP. Rumoured titles for 2026.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Houston. I'm the editor of Pinball Magazine. I'd like to wish you a very happy new year. And I'm joined by...
Yes. I'm Martin M. I'm the editor of Pinball News, and Jonathan and I are here right at the start of, almost right at the start of 2026, to look back at all the exciting events that took place through the last month of 2025. That's the month of December, and the first couple of days of 2026 in January, because we got a few updates, and we're a little later than usual bringing this to you, but it's
we have lives too, so
yeah, it's been the holiday season, so and New Year celebrations and all that kind of stuff, and we've only just sobered up enough to actually come and do this. So, as Jonathan said, a very happy New Year to you. Hope 2026 is good for you so far, and it's going to be a great year. We've got a lot coming up, and we've got a lot to cover in this December 2025 PINcast. So,
let's start with the biggest pinball company currently on the planet, Stern Pinball.
Yep. We said in our first headline, lots of new accessories coming out for games, not just from Stern, but Stern are leading the charge there with new accessories for 4 of their titles, actually. The Uncanny X-Men, that's had a new billboard topper. I think that was leaked a little while ago, and then the picture was quickly removed. It didn't get the greatest response, I think, when it was first leaked. People were saying, "Is that it?" Just a sort of rotating billboard type thing. But apparently that is what it is, with suitable lighting effects, and that's available now for basically $1,500. Then along with that,
sorry, I'm a little late. But
Yeah, it's the. I think it's going to have to be very minimal. I think.
I would call $1,500 very minimal.
No, I was going to finish that sentence and say it has to be a very minimal topper to go below the $1,000 mark. And we'll see one later which actually does achieve that, which doesn't have any animation. But this has a rotating billboard that has, I think, 3 sides to it, so it can show 3 different things, and has obviously RGB lighting all over the place. It ties into the modes. So yeah, $1,500 for that. I suspect I
still remember the days when you could buy entirely used games for $1,500.
Well, yes, you could buy brand new ones for that price. Going back even further.
Longer ago, yes, yeah,
yeah. Well, that's not where we are now. So, $1,500. I think $1,500 seems to be the price for anything that's got any animatronics in it. If it's got a display in it, it probably goes up to $2,000. And if it hasn't got either of those, it's probably $1,000. So we'll see whether that holds true when we look at some of the other toppers that have come up for other games. But anyway, included with the topper, you can also get an illuminated mutant scanner shooter knob, although you can't at the moment because it's not actually available just yet, but it's coming soon. $200 for that.
What?
So, yeah. Side armor. You're going to sound like a grumpy old man at this rate. I remember back in the day.
Back in my day, we didn't have pinball toppers.
Yeah, it came with the game. Side armor is $270, up $100, and speaker expression lighting system $200. All that's available, or if it's not available now, it will be shortly, for the Uncanny X-Men.
Right. Okay.
Star Wars: Fall of the Empire gets its own topper as well, which has an animated C-3PO head to it. And I was saying,
I mean, for that kind of money, you expect the entire 3CPO.
Yeah. Well, you just get the head. I think it might be a little ambitious to put the entire thing on top of your game, but it does come with custom speech and a topper exclusive mode. And as I was saying, because it's animatronic but has no display, it's $1,500. But interestingly, it is also compatible with the previous Star Wars game, the Steve Ritchie game. From 15, 17, something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, 2017, I think. So it can be fitted to that game as well if you wanted to. You wanted to spend another $1,500 on that game. Also comes with special. Also available are Shooter Knob, which is a Stormtrooper, which is $170. Side armor, same prices as with Uncanny X-Men, $270. Art Blades, same price, $100. Cabinet expression lighting system is available for $600. A speaker expression lighting system hasn't been announced as a price yet, but we can probably guess it's going to be the same as it is for Uncanny X-Men, which is $200. We'll see when that comes out. Without wishing to make this in too much of a list, Walking Dead Remastered also has a whole bunch of accessories. It has a Governor's Fish Tank Topper. That's one with the floating heads in it. Not animated. Yeah, no animation on that, so that comes in at $1,000.
Not even light animations?
Yeah, it's lighting animation, but no motors driving anything in it. Yeah. So that's that's $1,000. I was saying non-animated, $1,000, animated $1,500, and displays $2,000. Side armor, expression lighting system, cabinet lighting system, art blades, all the same price as we've been talking about earlier. And expression lighting system for the speakers also coming in, but not available yet. Probably
you forgot the zombie head shooter knob.
Did I? Oh, well, that'll be me then, zombie head. Yes, same. Actually, not the same price as the Stormtrooper one. It's actually more expensive. It's $200 for that one.
Right. Well, it's a zombie head, so
it is. It is, yeah. So obviously different to a Stormtrooper. You've actually got to model the face. And the final one was Jaws 50th anniversary. Remember that one? That came out, had all the red trim on it. Well, there's a topper, a 50th anniversary topper just for that one, which has the same red trim as the cabinet does, but it has a unique 50th anniversary plaque plonked in the middle of it as well. Yes, this is priced.
Didn't look that great.
No, this is priced at $1,100, so $100 more than the non-50th anniversary edition. Again, it doesn't have any animation to it, so it's basically $1,000 topper with an extra $100 for the plaque. It was only available to pre-order until the end of December. So if you haven't ordered it by now, then you won't be able to. And shipping is planned for March, so it's got a couple of months to build the things.
Yeah.
That's not to say that distributors won't have them in stock, but they are using a new pre-order model for this. So you have to pre-order them, and then they only make as many as they pre-ordered. So I guess it's possible that distributors pre-ordered some as well. Just for regular sales. So we have to see. But if you didn't order it for yourself, then it's too late for that. So there we are. Those are the new accessories which have been announced by Stern for those four titles.
Usually we talk about new games and stuff like that. Accessories we don't give a crap about.
Well, you say that, but I'm starting to get the message now that accessories are a major part of the sales for the company now.
Well, the new business model.
Yeah.
Forget the game. We're just gonna do accessories.
Yeah, certainly don't want to leave that money on the table for other companies to make accessories for the games. They might as well make them for themselves and sell them at a premium price. Talking of next games, though.
Exactly. That was the bridge I was trying to make.
Go on then, cross that bridge.
Well, it's January, and January usually means that Stern is by now already teasing a new game, and then we get to see it at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, I believe that is, followed by the EAG Expo Show in London, which is a week later.
That's right.
So, and apparently, first of all, the next title, several rumors going around. Either it's going to be Pokemon, designed by Jack Danger and finished by George Gomez, or it's going to be a Transformers based on the cartoons of Transformers.
John Borg design.
Probably, yeah. But, apparently Stern had scheduled for today a distributor briefing, which got, I suppose the right word is postponed. So distributors have, as far as we know right now, not had their usual briefing about the upcoming game that's going to be revealed in the next couple of days. And it could indicate that we may not get to see either Pokemon or Transformers or whatever it turns out to be until the end of the month, which would be a pity, of course. Having two big shows for either consumers or for, as in Europe, the distributors and so on. The trade, to show off that game. So, but
well, I have seen a notice saying that there was going to be a press briefing on the Stern stand at CES. Stern normally have a separate room, don't they, in a hotel nearby where they demo some of their games.
Yes.
Now, they said that was scheduled to take place today, almost at the time that we're recording this, or in a few hours' time, anyway. And now we could say that we delayed this PINcast recording specifically to get in the latest news about it, but that would be a lie. So we don't know whether so we don't know if we're just missing the announcement, or whether it's just as you said, it's not going to be done. But
to tie in with what I mentioned earlier, usually Stern has started teasing a new title by now, and so far they haven't.
No, not even just the title, which is what they normally do. Just do a little saying "coming soon" or some variation of that phrase tied into the theme. But no, we haven't seen anything. And traditionally they would have done that on the Thursday or the Friday before, which would have been the 2nd of on the Friday. Probably wouldn't do it on New Year's Day, but on the 2nd.
Well, timing of New Year's Day and everything like that this year is a bit
didn't work out well. But you thought they'd done something on the 2nd, and then they could have done their distributor briefing either today or on the Monday, and then launched a game on the Tuesday.
But who knows what will happen this week?
Yeah, exactly. So keep your eyes on Stern's social media feeds to see if a new game is indeed announced or even just teased. Because if it doesn't turn up at CES or EAG, then EAG is going to be a fairly muted affair, I think, without having any new Stern releases, because we're not getting Star Wars: Fall of the Empire in Europe either. So the most recent game would be King Kong?
For us, yes.
Yeah. Well, which hardly be new. So we need something new, Stern. Come on.
Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, as we have discussed in previous PINcasts, Stern last year finally switched to their new operating system called Spike 3. And there's some interesting speculation going on. We also learned last year that Godzilla is about to become Stern's best-selling title ever. And it's still in production. Now that Spike 3 is already introduced and so on, some people are wondering, could we see Godzilla running on Spike 3, meaning that you get the new cabinet with the larger display and the new speakers and so on. Everything else should be easy to fit in that cabinet, but it could be an interesting situation. And what would that mean for the market? Because then you have a lot of Godzilla games on Spike 2, and the new ones look even better.
Yeah, well, obviously they're backwardly compatible. Well, Spike 3 back to Spike 2 games, in theory, should
Yes.
work well. On the other hand, they may just be using up old stock of Spike 2 systems and cabinets, and will preserve the Spike 3 upgrade option for a Godzilla remastered at some point further down the line.
Right. So, oh well, it's
Although,
just something
having
I
said
figured.
that, yeah, I was going to say, having said that, all the remasters so far have been of dot matrix games, which of
Right.
course Godzilla isn't. So,
Well, at some point they're going to run out of Spike 2 board sets and what have you. And if they're still running Godzilla, they're basically forced to go with Spike 3. And then the question is, are they going with the smaller displays or the old speaker panel or the new one?
well, I did say that you can plug a Spike 3 into a Spike 2 game, so you wouldn't necessarily need to upgrade anything else just to
Right.
use the Spike 3 board in it. You could still have the smaller display, the lower resolution, and it would still work perfectly well
Right.
with Spike 3. But anyway, it's all speculation, so we don't know about that. But it'd be nice to see Godzilla. Well, we actually don't know what the animation or what the graphics resolution is stored at within the game. It may not be able to take advantage of the full HD display because it might only be
Yeah. Well.
720. Anyway,
Oh well.
yeah.
So anyway, I figured I mentioned that.
Good.
So,
yeah. Along with all that, Stern have been continuing with their Beat That Score challenge all the way through December and into Christmas and New Year for those who care about collecting achievement badges or even appearing on some of them yourself with your own score. We don't partake of that, so it's no interest to us. But there are plenty of people who do seem to enjoy collecting those achievement badges and posting their scores on and sending them to Stern and getting their picture on their social
right.
media feed. So anyway, if that was you, good luck. It's not us.
Yeah.
And the
The
other
world
thing,
keeps turning without them anyway. So
yes, the other thing they've been doing is they've been plugging their Ask Jack Anything question and answer sessions. That's Jack Danger, of course,
right.
where questions are
Well, it would
selected.
be really interesting if it would be Jack Gaurnieri.
I thought I should clarify exactly which Jack we're talking about here, just in case that came up.
Well, just as a little tease, we
Yes.
have our own Ask Jack Anything
We
session
do.
later on. Yeah.
And we
then
do.
we're talking about Jack Gaurnieri.
Yes,
So
indeed.
stay tuned for that. But now getting back to the Ask Jack Danger Anything sessions.
Yeah, quite interesting, I think, to watch those. Obviously, the questions are vetted and the answers are limited to or constrained by what Stern wants to reveal of their upcoming plans or indeed their recent developments. But still some interesting details there, so I'd recommend checking those videos out as and when they are released. It's a nice sort of slightly more casual approach to social media that fits in well with Jack's style. So
Right.
that's something to watch out for.
Okay.
Elsewhere,
And then there's well, so there was a sweepstake, I think it's called,
Yep, that's right.
for a free Dungeons and Dragons game, and the winner of this U.S. only draw was announced as Matthew from Washington, and we do not know whether that's D.C. or state. And like I said, it was a US only draw, so in Europe, tough luck for us. Basically.
Well, I was thinking, wouldn't it be a really good idea for Stern to celebrate and mark the establishment of their new European office in Amsterdam if they did a Europe only for the sake, where they can give away a new 50 hertz pinball machine to European Stern pinball fans.
Okay, so here's a thought, because I really like this idea. Now, with the EAG Expo coming up, I'm pretty sure that the head of Stern's European office, John
Yeah.
Buscaglia,
Yeah.
will be present at the EAG show and walking around and knowing that there is quite a few listeners of our show attending EAG Expo as well. I would suggest if you see John walking around, walk up to him, give him a nice compliment, and then suggest, like, very nice of you to hold these sweepstakes in US for US residents only. But how about you start your term here in Amsterdam
Yeah.
with such a sweepstake? And if enough people would ask and walk up to John, who knows what might happen?
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, we should all bombard him with requests for a Europe only free machine giveaway, which would be a great way to launch the new Stern European office.
And of course, if they want to do that for Australia, we applaud that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I understand that there are potential issues with doing cross-country sweepstakes. You know, so different countries have different laws about tax and whether you're allowed to give away a machine and all that. But
I'm sure want it on the internet, it's fine.
Yeah, well, I'm sure, you know, with their trans-European office set up, they will be able to get across all those different rules and regulations for each country and make sure it works. You know, basically to say, well, if you win, then if there's any tax due, then it's down to you to pay it. But the machines sitting here in our Amsterdam office, come and get it. So
something like that.
Yeah,
well, we leave that for them to figure out. We don't have to cross all the T's and dot all the I's for them.
Oh, well, okay. We won't then. Okay. Well, in which case, we'll just wrap up our Stern roundup with some of your most exciting new code, which which I know you love.
Yeah, especially. Well,
have you got your pillow ready?
I took a power nap before recording this, so okay, make it quick.
Okay, quick. King Kong, Myth of Terror Island, 2 updates. Version 0.9 and 0.91. The first one was just a few adjustments for the animatronic topper. The second one was a new Spider Queen 3-ball multi-ball mini wizard mode. Then we had Star Wars Fall of the Empire, version current cornerstone title, version 0.88, but not in Europe, of course. That had support for the new C3PO topper, which we talked about earlier, and added the topper exclusive Escape Bespin mode, which as well as some new school shot rewards, voice calls as well, and added the DJ mixer so you can play the game's music tracks out in a track mode. Walking Dead Remastered, version 0.8, more voice calls and sound effects, more display effects, more light shows, all the usual, and a bit of a rebalance of some of the sounds. Here's what we were talking about earlier, Star Wars 2017 Steve Ritchie version. That had a new code update to support the Fall of the Empire topper. So it adds a couple of modern game features which weren't in the in that version of the game, and interestingly includes a feature available where if you plug a Spike 3 controller in, as we were talking about earlier, it enables audio to come out on the HDMI output, which wasn't possible before because it wasn't HDMI. Remember, Spike 3 boards are supposedly backwardly compatible with Spike 2 games. So if you do that, then this is a new bonus feature, and that you can get the audio out over the HDMI from that board. And finally, Uncanny X-Men version 0.96, just improved control for that new topper we were talking about, plus a few bug fixes and rule changes, and that's it for the code from Stern Pinball for this month. Wake up, Jonathan! It's your turn.
Is it right? I was just scrolling through the list of companies that we're going through, but whether we should move things around. But no, let's stick with Barrels of Fun in Houston, Texas. They sent out a couple of messages, basically announcing that they will be pausing the production of June. It sold over 500 units so far. And you could order a game either as a distributor or a direct customer until the 31st of December. And those games are expected to be built around February, shipped in March, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, they will not be taking any new orders for June, that is, unless there is a significant demand in which they might reopen orders. So basically, this means well, June turned out to be a bit of a sleeper title, if you don't mind me saying it or calling it that. So not the biggest seller at the start of the when the game was revealed, but it turns out more and more people are actually warming up to the game, and well, your last chance for now to order the game has just been passed. But still, if demand is there and the license is still active, they might go back to produce some more.
And of course, distributors probably hold stock of the game as well. So there probably are games out there if you wanted to buy one without having to pre-order it.
Right. Yes. And then you don't have to wait for it either.
No. And talking of Dune, as you were, there is now a new alternative mirrored backglass for the game. Now,
Yes.
This is
big sandworm.
Yeah, created by Jonathan Bergeron, aka Johnny Crap, who did the original Dune art as well as the Labyrinth art package. It's priced at $299, which seems pretty reasonable to me for a nice mirrored glass. Orders opened on the 17th of December. There's no specific cutoff date for these, as they will be produced on demand. So if you wanted to get either an alternative, a replacement, or have a spare, or have some piece of wall art, $299 from Barrels of Fun or their distributors is how you can get it. And as we say, it doesn't look like there's a cut-off date, so you can take your time deciding if you want to get one or not. But right. Nice to see. I mean, I prefer the original personally, but I guess there is demand for an alternative package, a more generic, less actor-centric design. And as you said, it's based around the sandworm itself, which is also a big part of the game. And as we will see, it's actually the sandworm is not only a big playfield feature and now potentially a big backglass feature. In the new animated Dune topper, which has just been announced, it has an animatronic wriggling sandworm on it, which is one of the animated things. There are also two moons which are mounted on a disc or on arms at the back, which orbit the planet and at different speeds. So you get that sort of parallax effect as well. It's a very nice looking piece of mechanical engineering up there. This is priced at $1,675. So we're back in $1,500 price range again for animated toppers. Right. If you want to order one, you have to put down an $875 deposit, and the order window for these, because there is a limited time you can order it, closes on the 9th of January. So if you want to get one of these toppers, you have to do it quickly, because they'll be built to order. Delivery is scheduled for these in August, so quite some time. Yeah, I guess they're going to take a while to build, and I suppose they're going to ship them all at once, rather than do it in dribs and drabs, according to when you ordered the game, or ordered the topper, I should say. No actual video of the topper is actually available, or wasn't when I did the checking earlier. There are computer simulations that show you how the mechanical worm device operates. Not quite sure it looks as visually impressive as it should be, given everything that's gone into it. But maybe you have to see it in person and view it from the position of standing in front of the game. But it's a sandworm behind a dune, or sand dunes, I should say, and as it wriggles, bits of it appear above the dunes. In the meantime, you've got as I say, the two moons orbiting the planet in the background. So yeah, looks nice. I'd like to see some real video, the real thing, especially if I was going to order one and you only got until the 9th of January to do it. But
Right. Well, if they have until August to ship them, then they also have time to maybe improve it a little bit.
oh well, yeah, the window's closed on the 9th of January for ordering it.
Yeah,
So you
okay,
won't
but
be
it
able to.
doesn't mean they can technically upgrade it and
Oh
make
no,
it look nicer and so on. So.
definitely. Anyway, if you want to have a look at any of that stuff, go to the Barrels of Fun website shop, which is on their website, which is Collect Fun, KOLLECTFUN.com. Don't know why it's not Barrels of Fun pinball.com, but it's not. It's Collect Fun, and then you can see pictures of the design of it and some computer simulations of how it works.
Right. Okay. And that rounds it up for Barrels of Fun in Houston, Texas. Moving up north, and a little bit further north than Chicago, actually, we find Spooky Pinball in Benton, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yes.
Yes. So, well, good news if you ordered a Evil Dead game and you're based in Europe, because all overseas Evil Dead games have shipped, at least the ones to Europe. They're on their way to RS Pinball in Austria, who is their main distributor for Europe, I would say.
Yeah, but certainly the last batch went out to RS Pinball. I think all the ones that are going to Australia and other overseas territories are also shipped as well. But yeah, certainly the pictures I saw were of a container of games going to Stefan at RS Pinball. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, and well, the rest of the remaining run is expected to be completed by the end of January, which is well, this month basically. And I assume those are all domestic games then.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, then I'll be able to gear up and get started on Beetlejuice, I suppose.
Yes. So, and then Spooky Pinball introduced a new, I would call it, well, not so much an accessory, but more like an add-on to your game. Although it could be seen as an accessory as well. They call it the Dead Bar, which basically is an RGB lighting strip, which is mounted at the top of the backboard of your playfield, and that's priced at $94 US.
Very reasonable.
Basically, yeah, very reasonable indeed. And basically, that is interactive with the light show of the game. But the main purpose is because the upper left area of the playfield turned out to be quite dark, and this brings in a little bit of extra light, so it's not that dark anymore. Although the theme itself is pretty dark.
That's true. Yeah, it looks nice, and nicely integrated into the game as well. And
Yes.
for $94 seems like a no-brainer, really, if you've got that game.
Well, they had 150 ready to ship, and they sold out immediately. But you can order it, and they will be available.
Yeah.
It's not limited or anything, and it's also very likely to be integrated in upcoming titles.
Ah, okay, right. So I think this could be an add-on feature in future games. Then
Yes.
They add extra playfield lighting. Okay.
Yes. So,
well, talking of that, then we get on
if
to
Spooky
the.
were, hold on, if Spooky would be really smart, they would basically start selling these to be added on to other manufacturers' games.
Oh, well, then it had to be supported in the software, I suppose.
Well, I'm sure they can find their way around that.
Yes, I'm sure they could. Yeah, but I'm sure they have enough to deal with
Or we
building
just
their
have to
own
wait and
games.
see. Yeah, okay, well,
Yeah.
we just wait and see how long it takes until other pinball manufacturers start picking up on this as well.
I thought you were going to say if they're really smart, they start shipping their games without any GI lighting at all, and then have it all available as an add-on later.
No.
No, don't want to give people ideas. Anyway, yes, we're talking about the Dead Bar RGB lighting strip. Well, that ties us neatly into the new code section from Spooky Pinball, for which there are actually 3 different games this month, or the month of December, I should say. The first of
One
which
very
is
exciting one, I would say.
yeah, well, yeah, we'll come to that. But carry on with what we were just talking about. Evil Dead. Yes, that gets on the 19th of December. It got an update which includes settings for this Dead Bar, so you can then control how it operates, and also comes with a bunch of bug fixes for the game. Scooby Doo also gets an update. That got that on the 12th of no, sorry, on the 1st of December. That was. Um, Added a player option to control the number of side quests required to start Snow Ghost, plus a few bug fixes and a couple of optimizations. And finally, and I'm guessing this is the one that you were referring to, Jonathan, as being particularly exciting, Total Nuclear
Because
Annihilation.
I
Yes.
did not see that coming.
No.
No. Version 1.6.0 released on December the 12th. Quite a few rule changes and settings, along with several bug fixes. Details are on the new tnapinball.com website, along with more details of the game and its history. So no longer Scott, well, it's probably still a website run by Scott Denisi, but no longer it's Denisi Designs.
No, has a dedicated website for TNA Pinball.
Well, that could be interesting. Who knows what else is coming?
Yeah, quite right. Yes.
So, yeah. I still have to install it on my own game, which I haven't played in a while, I have to admit. So, good reason to actually update it and start playing it again.
Absolutely. So that's the new code from Spooky Pinball and Scott Denisi, and that finishes our Spooky Pinball roundup for the month of December 2025. So let's move back down south again and head to Multimorphic in Round Rock in Texas. Now they have released the first of a promised new series of Pinball Service 101 videos, and relating to the P3 pinball platform. This is released on YouTube, and I think it's going to be on their website as well, but I couldn't find it when I tried to find it. So in the first video, we get Nick Baldridge, who has technical support responsibilities for Multimorphic, and as well as being a hugely talented game designer, mechanical genius, and podcaster, of course, as well. He goes through the flipper assemblies on the P3 pinball platform, comparing them to a WPC flipper mech, which we'll say we're all familiar with, but people tend to be a lot more familiar with that as it's used on not just Williams games, but other games as well. Comparing and contrasting, explaining the tools you need to service them, how the operation of them compares, things like the end of stroke switches and the coils, how easy it is or difficult it is to replace things like the flipper bushings and so on. As I said, it's available on. The video says it's available at the end on the Multimorphic website in the support section. I couldn't find them there, but certainly on YouTube is where you can get them for the moment. Interestingly, in the support section, you do need to be registered there in order to log into it. Fortunately, I do have a login for it, thanks to Jerry and the team at Multimorphic. But and there's a lot of useful information there for game owners. But in the meantime, yeah, go to YouTube, check on Multimorphic, search for Pinball Service 101 videos. In the meantime, if you are going to the Multimorphic website, there are lots and lots of videos there explaining various aspects of the P3 and telling you how to do basic tasks on it, which are slightly different to the way you might do them on a more traditional pinball game. Okay, talking of Nick, Nick is as we mentioned before, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, we mentioned about he has a new game in development called Steelbound, which is for the P3 pinball platform, of course. There was no scheduled release date for it, but it was like an announcement that the game is coming. Well, apparently it's progressing well and almost ready for alpha testing. I'm sending out to alpha testers to get their feedback and on various different aspects of the game, and that may, of course, influence how it turns out, and of course the timescale as well. If everybody says it's brilliant and works perfectly, then I guess we'll see it sooner rather than later. In the meantime, if you want to get any more details of that, go to steelboundpinball.com, where there is a website that gives you details of the game and where you will eventually be able to see when the game is available to download for the P3.
Right. And last but not least, for Multimorphic, that is, there's a video by portal artist Brad Albright showing some of the hidden or less visible elements of the Portal art package, including artwork inside some of the mechanisms and certain hidden elements. You can find that video on the Multimorphic Facebook page and probably YouTube as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think that wraps it up for Multimorphic for the month of December.
Yes, and then, well, why not stick to where I'm from, the Netherlands, where we have Dutch Pinball, who have some updated news regarding the production of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, as there was an email sent through customers of the game to give them a little update. Currently, they're a little over halfway through production, which is limited to 500 units. So around the 17th, they were at the 275 mark, leaving 225 games left to be built. And, well, they're expecting to round up the production of the game around May of this year, 2026. Followed to start the production of Retro Atomic Zombie Adventureland, as earlier announced, to start in June.
Right.
And that's the most interesting information from that email that came out. Although I do have to say, apparently the topper production for a Alice game continues to be a pain in, well, you can figure out what.
A pain in the razor.
Yes, something like that for Dutch Pinball, but I'm sure they're working on it. The email also, and this is strictly for customers only, contained also information for those who are considering to cancel their order for the Alice game, and what consequences that might have and how that works and everything. But if you're not, if you're a customer, then you receive that email, and if you're not, then why would you care?
Well, I suppose it's interesting to see how they are honouring the commitment that if they didn't complete the shipment of all the Alice games by the end of the year, they would offer refunds on what was basically a non-refundable deposit. So they are doing that. They said that basically, to summarise, it said that refund requests will be processed through January and payments made in February for those who choose to bail on their pre-order. So that was the upshot of that. But for those who stayed in the game, they are rewarded on this 24th of December with some new code, version 1.0, for Alice's Adventure. Yeah, I know, nice little Christmas present, eh? And it added a little feature where you can play the wizard mode through the test menu. Now, this wizard mode normally takes a long time to get through, or get to, I should say. So it's not something that would normally be easy to start, or indeed something you can play very often. So because of that fact and the way that the game works, it said this option may only be used twice per hour due to the long play duration on the MPF. I don't know what the MPF is.
I suppose that's the
Magic
upper playfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the magnet core heating cooling cycle. Using it more than twice per hour will create a log entry on the hard drive, and any resulting damage to the magnets or playfield due to overheating is then at the owner's risk. Okay, so this option is just present to give everybody the possibility to experience this mode. In real gameplay, it's impossible to play this mode more than twice per hour, given how long it takes to actually get to it. So that overheating is not an issue in real life. So they've added this feature, but use it with care and don't abuse it, I think is the gist of that message.
Right. I assume the wizard mode is a timed mode in the sense that if you would be playing it once per hour, but you're really good at it, then you might still overheat if it's not a timed mode.
Yeah, it could be, or it could be that it has different stages that use different aspects of the playfield in different ways. So, the first bit might be much heavier on the magnet than the second stage, for instance, which maybe moves the action elsewhere. But we don't know. But anyway, it's a new feature in version 1.0 of the code, as is the Midnight Madness feature, which was in before, but was incomplete before. It is now complete, and there are also some rule changes and to the way that some of the features work, and some additional difficulty adjustments, and a couple of bug fixes which weren't gone into in any details, but so they've now been squished and eaten. So hopefully that's the end of those. And that was the new code for Alice in Wonderland version 1.0, which came out on 24th of December, as we said, just in time for Christmas. But there is also the promise of another software update in the first quarter of 2026, so sometime January, February, March, which is apparently already in the works. And schedules are, for instance, a mini playfield multi-ball lock mode, and the ability to replay unfinished main modes. So sound like good additions to have in the game, and so you shouldn't have to wait too much longer for that new update to come out in the first quarter. So good luck if you've got that game, and if you haven't, then I'm sure you'll be looking forward to it all the more.
Right. Okay. So then some short news from Planetary Pinball Supply, who have been sending off original playfield drawings from old Bally and Williams games, and most of them were available in the $250 to $750 price range. I did see some announcements, but I'm not sure whether these were sold through an auction house or whether they were on eBay or something like that.
No, I think you had to buy them from Planetary Pinball directly, I believe, but they didn't seem to sort of have it kind of like, well, contact us if you want it type message. So I don't quite know how they sold them and what the process was for picking who gets which one, and or even knowing what's left either. But there just seemed to be a lot of drawings going, and some very interesting ones. Even some that they didn't even know what they were themselves. I saw one which turned out to be a topper for a slot machine that Williams had made. But others, some playfield drawings are very, very detailed with loads of mechanical devices on it, and others are a lot more simpler and maybe earlier sketches. But all part of pinball's history, and I'm sure they've all been scanned before being sold off. But if you got your hands on one or more of those, congratulations! They look nice pieces of memorabilia to have, especially if you own the game.
Right.
Now, moving on then.
Yes. How about we go to our, we have a special interview. We could ask Jack anything, as I mentioned before. And, of course, yes. We are talking about Jack Gaurnieri. Let's discuss the news from December, and then let's head over to Jack.
Yes, and not a huge amount of news from the company. They've been busy promoting their recent titles, mainly Avatar and Harry Potter, of course. But amongst all that, they also ran another sweepstake for a free game, just as Stern did. And in this case, it was a Guns N' Roses limited edition. And again, limited to United States residents only.
It's time for an Amsterdam office for Jersey Jack Pinball.
That would be nice, yes. Entries closed on the 1st of December. I think we actually trailed that last month, so you had a chance to enter. The winner was Jennifer W. from Harrisonville, Missouri. So congratulations!
Congratulations!
Jennifer. Yeah,
right.
Okay. Who gets a nice new Guns N' Roses limited edition game for free? So
for free, yeah,
not a bad offer. But of course, this tied in, if you like, although it wasn't trailed as such, tied in with the 15th anniversary of the announcement of Jersey Jack Pinball.
The founding of the company, so to speak.
Yeah, although the company had been in development before that, it was actually publicly announced on the 1st of January, wasn't it? 2011.
Yes, if I'm not mistaken, on the Spooky Pinball podcast.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, yes, because of course Charlie was doing
Who knew they would become competitors?
Yeah, was doing the cabinets for printing the cabinets for Jersey Jack Pinball at that point. Not
that there was anything designed yet regarding cabinets or whatever, but it was indeed January 1st, 2011 that Jack Gaurnieri on the Spooky Pinball podcast announced starting Jersey Jack Pinball, and so basically this is a 15th birthday, anniversary, whatever you want to call it. So we talked to Jack to congratulate him, and that turned out to be quite a lengthy conversation, but still very interesting. So we'll be back in an hour or so, and have fun with our talk with Jack, where we could ask Jack anything.
Hey guys, Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! So we're here to congratulate you on your 15th anniversary, then, Jack, of announcing your company.
Yeah, I mean, is that amazing? It was just yesterday, and it's 15 years past, so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and they said, start a pinball company, you'll have fun, and they said it wouldn't work.
Right. Well, it worked, and so you say it's like yesterday, and it's been 15 years, but does it feel like 15 years, or does it feel like 45?
Well, no, it doesn't feel like 45. Certainly, 15 years it's a pretty good amount of time to get a company organized and do what we've done. And I think what we did was we empowered a lot of other people to follow us to build pinball machines too.
Well, yeah, I think you did. You may not always get the recognition, but I think you blew new life into the entire industry.
Well, I hear a lot of things, and it's very humbling and flattering, but my intent was just to make great games. I didn't know what would happen, but in the beginning, when we first started ordering parts, I knew what would happen. I told a story a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about parts for games, and before I built Wizard of Oz, there were no wide body lockdown bars. You had to search on eBay, maybe they were $150 if you could find the halfway decent lockdown bar. But a part like that, my vendor said, well, the tool is $20,000. You don't have to pay for the tool. You're a new company. So he kept the tool, and he called everybody around the world, and he turned my 1,000-piece order into 2,000 pieces.
Smart guy.
So those are the kind of things that happened. We couldn't get any kind of parts years ago. There were no 3D printers or anything like that. You had to scrounge for them or take them off games. Yeah. Once you start a pinball company, you get people involved. Some vendors, they went from being 50 or 60% of their business was pinball down to 5 or 10% because there was no pinball going on. And Now you have mod makers and people making toppers that are sending their kids to college and everything like that.
Yeah. So what was the biggest surprise that you found when you started to build Wizard of Oz? The thing that you really weren't expecting to be a problem that was.
I'm not sure we have that long, but go on, Jack.
Yeah. I mean,
just one.
Martin. You were there, Martin. You saw it.
I was.
So Jonathan, everything was a problem. There really was nothing that was a problem. The only thing that went easy was selling the game. That was the easiest part of it, was selling the game. People bought a game from us that didn't exist, from a factory that didn't exist. And, it's just an amazing thing to think about it in hindsight, that we crowdfunded the company before there was crowdfunding. And it was crazy to do that. I don't think I would do that again. But, I was very fortunate and very lucky. A lot of people just had faith and trust and confidence, and it worked out.
But when you started with the Wizard of Oz, I think the initial price was $6,500,
which was a ton of money.
It was at the time, yeah. But now, of course, next to nothing. And of course, you couldn't make it for that. You couldn't sell. Well, you could sell it, but you couldn't make it for that price these days. So
I could make it for that price those days. But it was a little late to find that out. You already jumped out of the plane, and you didn't have a parachute. What are you going to do about it?
Well, that's true. Yes. So, what do you think of the prices now? Do you think they are fair for the quality of the product that's being put out there now? Or obviously, the price now is more than double what it was 15 years ago. But then the price of many things is double what it was 15 years ago.
Well, in the Jersey Jack game, I believe you're getting value for your money because you're getting a complete game. We ship it. We ship the game code complete. We stuff the game with as much stuff as you could put into it. Technologically, we keep changing and adding new technology, new things to every game that we do, and you get a complete game. You get a topper. You get everything is in the game. With other companies, they're on different tracks. They do different things, and you have to value what the price is based on what you're getting on each different manufacturer. Everybody has their own way of doing business, and they have their own margins they need to make. And but overall, the market dictates the prices. So if something's too expensive, it's going to get knocked down. If something is underpriced, it's going to go up. Or the supply and demand. It's just simple supply and demand. And I look at games from 20 years ago, like Monopoly. And I look at a game from today that is similar to that, and I don't think it's worth it because you didn't show me the difference. What we did with Harry Potter, and the price difference is if you go to the arcade edition, which is $99.99, and then you go to the Wizard edition, which is $12,000, you can see where the difference in the money is. You could actually see it. But some companies, you go $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 difference. And there's, $50 worth of toys taken out of it and some colored molding. And to me, it's not worth it. To the customers, I respect them. They're the ones that decide with their wallets and they think it's worth it. That's great. God bless them.
So how do you think the market has, when you first created the game, there was the one version of the Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Obviously been other versions since, but they all been pretty much of the same ilk. How do you think the sort of market segmentation has happened as regards? As you said, you've now got an arcade version of Harry Potter, a Wizard version, and you've got the collector edition of that. So that's something of a change over the past 15 years from having just the one version. Is that because you're trying to broaden the market to appeal to all those types of buyers, or is it the case that one single model isn't enough these days?
Well, we had a standard edition Wizard of Oz. We sold very few of them. People wanted the full featured game with all the all the all of it, the beautiful
trim,
trim and everything like that.
Yeah.
Today, a lot of people told me that they wanted a game that was around $10,000, especially my operator friends. On my other side of my life, I'm commercial, with arcade games and stuff like that, not just home games. So all the operator friends of mine said they wanted a game that was 10,000 was a sweet spot. So I went $99.99, and we took out the things that really don't matter if I'm an operator. If I'm operating a game, doesn't matter if I have Invisiglass, doesn't matter if I have a shaker motor, art blades, black molding instead of powder coating that would color shifts, a topper, lighting around the monitor, glass instead of a translight. No, none of that mattered, and we sold close to 1,000 of those games so far. So in my mind, that's 1,000 games less than I would have sold, because they were, I believe they were all sold. Most all of them were sold based on price. And the fact that all the play fields are the same. Remember, that's important too.
Yes, all
the play fields. We didn't take any fun out of the game. Taking a $40 mechanism out, or a drop target, or a ramp, or something like that, it's ridiculous. Just ridiculous. What are you saving? It's not a difference. And I think we proved that to ourselves anyway.
Mm-hmm. So that's you're talking about 1,000 arcade editions alone, and then there's the other models adding on top of that.
Yep. You have the Wizard Edition and the Collector Edition.
Right. Okay. So that basically means you'll be building those games for a long, long time.
Yeah, we'll be building them a few more months, I would say, and then we'll swing into our next game.
So
could you clarify?
Is the arcade edition model something which is here to stay, do you think?
Yes.
Good. Right, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Could you define a few more months?
Sometime, what am I going to tell you? It's a spring, fall, winter. It's going to keep going. Every day we get orders for games, which is a blessing, and we thank everybody. And believe it or not, there are still a lot of people that have not played Harry Potter. I go places, locations that get the game, and there are all kinds of people in there, and people in the industry, and they haven't seen the game or played the game. So it's got a lot of ground to cover yet.
Well, there's a perfectly logical explanation for that. At least the way I experienced it myself. The couple of shows where I have actually gone to, where a Harry Potter game was present, or multiple, the line was basically too long for me to wait in line to play the game. So I have played the game, but I was lucky to get it at that arcade in next to Pinball Expo, Schaumburg, the
Antarium.
Exactly, thank you. I was able to play it there when there was no line, because during shows the line is just too long to be standing there, and well, I have other things to do, So.
Right.
So that explains for probably a lot of people are like, well, I want to play the game, but the line is too long, so let's play something else.
I agree. We have to do better with getting games out on location, and I believe one of the things that'll make it better is the price of the game, because our competitors have captured a lot of footprint in locations around the country and probably around the world, and we really haven't, because our company was based out of pinballsales.com, which sold games to the home. So maybe 90% of our games go to the home. Other people will tell you 70% of their games go here and 30% go there. If you talk to the same people at the same company, years ago they told you the same numbers were opposite. So you don't know which is true. I can tell you that
the landscape changed in the meantime.
Well, the landscape changed, so you change with it, I guess. But we were selling games to the home before people even knew games were going to the home. I mean, years ago when I sold Stern games, Doug Duba from Chicago Gaming would call me up and say, "Where are all these games going? I'm building cabinets for all these games. Where are they going?" They're going to the home. And it was like shocking to them to believe that people in the home actually wanted to buy games.
Yeah, to me, it's been always been quite surprising to see how the industry sort of did not catch up on or catch that, because at least from what I could tell, even um, late 80s, early 90s, I knew plenty of people looking for pinball machines to buy. It was difficult to get them because we had no internet at the time, and so
Right,
on.
right.
You need to be familiar with an operator that would be willing to sell a game, and many operators in those days rather trashed the game to make sure that you kept playing on location instead of playing in your home.
Well, when I was an operator, there was a newspaper called Bylines, and I guess it was like eBay. It was a newspaper published in Long Island. It covered all New York City, 5 boroughs: Long Island, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. And I would put an ad in there, games for sale, and I would list the games, and I would do it year round. And I would sell Asteroids and Space Invaders and Pac-Mans and all kinds of games like that, and pinball machines too. So typically, the operators at that point, they might sell games during Christmas time, and then when January 4th comes around and the phone rings and something's broken, they don't answer the phone because they don't want to go to the home. They don't want to send their workers to a home to fix a game, because then the worker has extra income from somewhere else, and maybe they're going to take parts from the shop to fix the game at somebody's home, yada yada. So it was always like you get the taillight guarantee. And that is, when the taillight pulls out of the driveway, the guarantee is over.
Right.
Yeah, I had the same thing when I first bought a pinball from a distributor. They were very reluctant to sell it to me as a homeowner, and they were very, very insistent that you're buying it sold as seen. So if anything goes wrong after this, it's on you to sort it out, which was fine for me because I was an electronics engineer anyway, so I can fix most of these things unless it's severely mechanical. But it was quite reluctant. They were very reluctant to actually sell to a home owner, simply because they didn't want that come back, as you just said.
Right. Yeah. Right. And today, really, you really have to have a network of service people to repair things, because everything can break, right? Brand new or used, whatever, anything can really happen on a pinball machine. And the typical service call today, to just walk into somebody's house in anyway, the northeast United States, is $250 to $350, and that's just hello to the door.
Yeah.
A customer of mine from years ago had an Arcade Legends game that crashed, Ultimate Arcade, and it needs a new motherboard, and nobody has the board. And I found somebody for him in Arizona, and he bought the board for $215. In the meantime, he had service guys to his house. He spent $900, and they did nothing. They made 3 visits and for $900 without repairing it. So, like everything else, you have to navigate. If you're getting a dishwasher fixed or you're getting an air conditioning unit fixed, you have to navigate through different people and recommendations from the good people that still repair games. And we have to teach more people to repair games too, because there are more and more games. There are more games today than there were 10 years ago, probably, in basements and homes and things like that.
More manufacturers as well.
Yeah, there's less people servicing them. So really, the service part of the business is still extremely important.
Yeah, that kind of worries me a bit with these when they start selling full games or home games, probably more of a case, through sort of standard retail outlets like Costco and Best Buy and places like that. Who's going to be doing the servicing on them when they because they will have issues. Every pinball, as you always say, if it's not broke, it's not pinball. But pinballs will have issues. Things will break. You're firing a steel ball, heavy steel ball of plastic pieces, and they will break. But where's the repair network to deal with that kind of thing?
Well, it probably won't be robots from Tesla, I don't think.
Well, the thing with like Costco is, if something breaks, you take it back. But I don't know whether that's going to work if you're selling pinball machines through that outlet.
I don't know. I mean, it's probably a good thing. It's an entry drug, as they say, for people to buy pinball machines. But the good thing is, some people that bought those games, I got them as customers. So thank you for making people know that there are pinball machines out there, because there are all kinds of pinball machines. And today, a buyer or collector has a lot of different choices of what they want to get.
Absolutely, and and as you said at the start of this, I think we can thank you in large degree for showing that it was possible to start a pinball company and sell games to particularly home buyers, but as long as you engage with them in the way that you did when you started. I remember all the sort of various teases that you were doing of, here's a bit of a plastic, here's a bit of artwork, here's a bit of the playfield, which went on for many months until you're actually able to reveal the Wizard of Oz in its full glory. And and that was that was kind of like what people do to a degree with social media these days. But I don't think anybody could string it out quite the length that you did when you started.
Well, thank you.
Well, it was good because it got people enthused, and because this was new back then. Having a new company bringing out pinball machines was such a unheard of thing for so many years. We were used to pinball companies closing, not opening. So once you announced you were opening, you generated a huge amount of goodwill and managed to carry that through to the launch of the first game.
Right.
I made stars out of people too. Really, I celebrated different people that worked for the company, and we had them autograph things, and we built the celebrity of a lot of different people in the industry, because when I was an operator, I didn't know who designed games. What did I know? What did I know? It was a Pat Lawler game or a Steve Ritchie game. I had no clue. It was a game. If the cash box filled up, I was happy with it. If the cash box didn't fill up, I got rid of it. It wasn't like, oh, I got to buy the next Steve Ritchie game. Today people are name conscious. They're like, who designed that game? Who did this? Who did that? So a lot of that stuff, we celebrated those people because they deserved it. The people that do software, the people that draw lines and circles, the people that think of the ideas, the people that do all the artwork, the people that do animation, and all that stuff. Now there's an award for the best screw put into a game.
Did you win?
Listen, I wanted to make playable artwork in the beginning too. I wanted to make sure that the side of the cabinet, the bolts didn't go through somebody's face. And the screws all matched, and it's hardware matched, and all kinds of little things. There were no wires really showing, and we've continued to do that kind of stuff, which is costly and time consuming and painstaking, but very, very beautiful at the end. If you look at a game like Avatar, it's just magnificent. Wizard of Oz, Hobbit, Harry Potter, all of the games, they're just in a lineup together. I've seen a couple of lineups together at people's homes, and at Expo there was one, and I look at all of them together, and it's just beautiful, beautiful.
You mentioned those titles, and also you mentioned earlier you'll be building games for many months to come. Are there any titles now which for which the license has expired, which recent games probably are worth covering, because I think some of the older ones we already know about, but any recent titles that you won't be remaking because they are no longer current titles?
I don't see us remaking anything right now. Like I've said before, the windshield is a lot bigger than the rearview mirror, and that's the direction we're going. So I still feel that way. If we called up all our distributors and said, "Hey, we're going to make Wizard of Oz again. How many do you want?" I'm pretty sure we would come back off the phone, with more than 1,000 games. Pirates, I said, we're not making Pirates. They're not making Pirates. I get calls every day for The Hobbit. People, can you find me a Hobbit? Yeah, the last Hobbit I saw was like $14,000. So it's funny when something's available, maybe you don't want it, but when it's not available, all of a sudden everybody wants it.
Well, that's sort of like not being able to play Harry Potter on a show because the line is too long, and then you miss out on the game because you never got to play it, and by the time you finally got to play it, you realize, oh, it's no longer in production, but I really want one.
Well, that happened with games at the show too. There were low production numbers and they sold out. and people didn't even get to play it to know if they wanted it or not. But they heard all their friends got it, so they want to get it too. It's the fear of missing out sometimes, but if it's a good game, you didn't miss out. You'll get it. You may have to pay more for it at some point. Some games just lose value right away, and some games maintain the value and go up. And it's based on how many people like it and how many people don't like it, I guess.
Right. Do you keep a track of which distributors have which of your machines in stock? So if somebody said they want, so somebody rang you up and said, I want to get an Elton John collector edition, then you could say, okay, this distributor here has one.
Yeah, we do. We maintain channel checks. Jen gets on the phone with distributors, and other people in the company get on the phone, and they ask them to do a channel check. How many of this? How many of that? How many of the other you have? Yesterday, somebody texted me and they wanted a collector edition Guns N' Roses, and I know a distributor that has 2 of them, so I'm directed that person to that distributor. Now, what the price will be, I don't know. It's not going to be. It probably won't be the price we sold it for. It'll probably be more than that. But there's always somebody hanging on to something. One of my distributors, I was at his place a couple of months ago. He showed me 2 brand new Wizard of Oz Emerald City limited edition games in a box.
Wow.
Yeah. And he had 3 or 4 pirate games, too, in a box. So there's games out there. I mean, you got to hunt them down. One of my customers in Arizona sent me a video of him opening a brand new Hobbit game, a Smaug edition, like about a month ago. He says, Jack, it took me a little bit of time and it took me a lot of money, but I got the game, because you call this one, you call that one, you call the other one, and eventually they lead you to the treasure.
Right. I was just wondering whether there's a shortcut to that process where they can ring you up and say, I want this game, who's got it for sale, and then you can tell them.
I try to do that as best I can. Sometimes the big distributors have a lot of equipment. They have a lot of stock. Mike at Automated has a lot of stock, and a few other guys around the world have a lot of stock. But they have a lot of stock of different manufacturers as well. And then they just stick something away for a long time. Somebody must have figured, hey, this is a guy, Jersey Jack's first game. I'm going to put a couple of them away. Maybe they'll go out of business in a few years and the game will be worth a lot of money, or maybe they'll. Who knows? Who knows why people do it?
Right. So now the company is now in existence for 15 years. Congratulations. Where do you see the company going in the next 15 years, or is that impossible to predict?
I think if we keep doing what we're doing, we'll be fine. And what that is making fun games that our customer base loves to play and to buy and to enjoy. And I think as long as we keep doing that and keep the customer first as our first focus of anything, I think we'll be okay. I think if we get greedy or we lose sight of the reason why the company was started, or we have people just interested in, being on a schedule to release a game. We have to release a game every Texas Pinball Festival or every expo or every, you don't get a good product. What happens with these things, unfortunately, they take their own timeline. You have a time when something's supposed to be done, and the development process is so iterative and so involved, and that sometimes you can't just say it's done right now. The apple pie. I want to have apple pie, but it's not done yet. Yeah. So we still need to finish some details on it. Why would you want to make a good game when you can make a great game if it took you another couple of months to finish it off and make everything shoot the right way and play the right way and all the software is done and everything like that? Why would you do it? Because you have to do it. You have to do it. We're not in that space. We don't have to do it. We got to keep everybody busy and working and everything, but we need to make good games. And I don't want to make 500 or something. I don't want to make, and there's nothing wrong with making 500 or something. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not in a position where we just want to make 500 or something. I want to make 5,000 or something.
Sure. Right. But this kind of brings me on to something which I've noticed elsewhere in the industry, is that I get the feeling that we are getting to a point where we're running out of good licenses for games. Now, you obviously decided that you can license all your games as well. But I've seen quite a lot of people going back to revisit previous licenses. I mean, to be fair, you've done it yourself. With with Guns N' Roses, it's a license which has been used before. With Avatar, it's a license that's been used before, but you've obviously brought it up to date in both cases. But we're not really seeing the new titles, the new licenses coming out. And I'll ask you in a minute about fragmentation of markets as well as regard licenses, which I've also seen recently. But do you think we're kind of not we're not getting the new, like Star Wars, the new Indiana Jones level of licenses of themes coming out now, which we used to have in the in the 80s and 90s, and the Back to the Futures and all that kind of stuff? Where's the modern version of those?
Well, some of them are yet to be exposed as licensed for a pinball machine. I get calls all the time and emails from people all the time. I have this great license, make it into a pinball machine. And I'm like, I don't think that makes a pinball machine, because we need a product that we could sell worldwide. I might say a title to somebody in Australia, and they say, "What is that, mate?" I don't know what that is, mate. What is that? And it's very popular in America, but it's not popular there. That's why we haven't seen a baseball-themed game since 1990 with Silver Slugger. Yeah. Because if I made a baseball game, I'd probably sell it in the U.S., but I probably wouldn't be able to sell it in Europe or anywhere else.
No, not at all.
Nobody plays baseball. They were able to do that years ago, Gottlieb was, because it was a pinball machine and people just played anything at that time. They were playing anything. You could make a game about just about anything. You have more competition today in the licensing arena. When I go to talk to a license company, studio or something like that, people that I know, they'll tell me, well, somebody called me a few weeks ago and told me, so-and-so was here to look at XYZ. Yeah? Are you interested in XYZ? Not really. No, I don't think so. So one of my competitors went to go to visit a company and get a license. And maybe nobody else is interested. So they try to start a horse race with 2 people or 3 people, to get the bidding up to get it further up. But, again, a really great license with a really bad game is still a really bad game. Underlying factor of the game has to be it's fun to shoot, and it's not a brick fest, and you can have a good time playing it and be rewarded and feel great playing it. Makes you smile. A game like Elton John, there's a theme who said, we need another Elton John game. We need Elton John. I don't really like Elton John that much, but the people that played it all bought it because it's a great game.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I think what you'll see is more licenses on the fringes, and you'll see more makeovers. I mean, look, I did Pirates, and Pirates was done before too. So, for a guy that started a company saying we're going to do original, or we're not going to do things over again, and when Slash calls you a few times and twists your arm, you can say, okay, I think I'm going to do Guns N' Roses. We could do it over again. We could bring it up to date, or with Avatar. So.
Right. Now, on that subject, with a slight twist, I suppose, from what I understood, Guns N' Roses is a great example of Slash calling you and wanting a new Guns N' Roses game. But from what I understood is the past couple of games coming from Jersey Jack Pinball, basically the designers have been assigned to a specific license to turn it into a game. Not necessarily a theme that they were very enthusiastic about in the first place. How does that work? Is it like I design this game and maybe that one, and then you get to choose a license of your own? Or because I can imagine that if someone is really passionate about a certain license and has to design a game about it, there's a lot more passion going into the game than somebody reluctantly accepting, not saying that was the case, but just to draw the image here, designing a game that, okay, and then maybe after that I get to do that game that I really want to do.
Well, I call it like having a vegan chef work in a steakhouse. So, if somebody is on the design team, especially the lead designer, pinball designer, if that person doesn't like the theme, you're not going to get a good game. I'm sorry, you're not going to have, their heart's not going to be into it. They're just going to phone it in, and it's not always possible to line up all the stars and say, you want this license, I'm going to go get that license for you and deliver it back to you, and you're going to be happy. It's happened sometimes in the games we've done, and some games we've done, we said to the designer, this is the next license up. Yeah, but couldn't I get XYZ? Yeah, maybe, but not right now. The timing isn't good right now, so we need you to do this. Okay, well, we haven't had to say to anybody, do this or there's the door. We haven't gotten that dramatic yet. But it's widely known that different designers like different themes. They like what they like, but sometimes it's not always possible to make it happen.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about licenses as well. Which is something we saw with another company's recent release, is that they were not able to license it globally because the licensor didn't think there was enough of demand to make it worth their while to sell that product in a certain geographic region. Is that something that you have experienced or been aware of in the recent times when you're investigating potential licenses for future games?
It all comes down to money. Okay, if you pay, you get. If you don't pay, you don't get. If you don't pay, you don't get the full use of the song. You get 15 seconds. If you don't pay, you don't get songs. I haven't found the song that I wanted for anything yet that I was told, no, I can't get it, and didn't come up with a certain amount of money where somebody said, yes, you can have it. So, in some of the license companies, they have the world's divided up in regions, as we know, with all these license companies, and they have different profit centers, and they all want to participate in making money. Okay. Pinball is it's not like Halloween costumes, which is like one of the number one categories for licenses, believe it or not. Pinball is a problematic category to license because of the iterative process involved. If you license a T-shirt or a lunchbox, like I've always said, you give a couple of samples and they say no, yes, and you're done. You're going to make your T-shirts and your lunchboxes, you're finished. But the pinball machine, you have to have meetings and meetings and meetings every week, twice a week sometimes, and you're submitting things for approval. They're coming back with comments. We don't like his eyebrow is this color, or his eyes are this color, and his cheek has a blush on it, or whatever it is. And the more people that look at it on the other end, the worse it is, because everybody's got an opinion and everybody wants to be part of it. Mm-hmm. And good thing we haven't had any instances where people get into gameplay and geometry and game design philosophy and rules and all kinds of stuff like that. But it's close. It's close. There are really great companies to deal with. What's going on right now in that space is that there's a lot of consolidation. See Paramount. Exactly. You see Paramount buying companies and trying to buy Warner Brothers, and Netflix involved, and MGM's owned by Amazon. So you're dealing with a different corporate structure, and people that I know and have built relationships with, I build relationships all through the company, at the very top, in the middle, and at the bottom, because you never know when somebody from the top is going to the bottom and from the bottom going to the top. And I've seen it, and I've had different things that I'll be honest with you, different things sometimes that weren't approved. I called somebody in the company and I told them my problem, and all of a sudden it got approved. So it pays to know somebody.
So this consolidation seems to be something that's going to increase. We've seen this recently with things like Fox becoming part of Disney, and Disney have been soaring up whole swathes of different companies and getting all their IP as well. Does that help you when you're when you're trying to negotiate with or deal with a company about a license, if it's the same company that you dealt with, because you were talking about with Warner, you had a good relationship with Warner right from the Wizard of Oz onwards. But now, if they get taken over by another company, is that going to make things harder for you, or potentially easier if if they're swallowed up by a company in which you've already had dealings?
I don't know the answer. I would hope to believe it would be easier, but because I believe that, it'll probably be harder. Nothing. There's not much that gets easier in what I do. I really be honest with you. It gets more difficult. So the thing I've been able to win on was just showing our product to the licensor, or the people that own the IP behind the licensor, and they've wanted Jersey Jack to make their games, and people have come to me and said, we have this license, and the only company we want to have it make it is Jersey Jack. And I said, well, I'm flattered, but it's not something we would do. It's not something that's going to be viable as a product to make thousands of. If I went to a licensor and I said, hey, we're only going to make 1,000 of these, the licensor would probably say to me, I don't want you to do it because you're limiting their...
Say that again.
Good old Alexa.
Alexa, play disco music.
Alexa just got unplugged, in fact. She just got unplugged. You don't realize it, but there's always somebody listening to you,
Oh, yeah. Well, apart from this podcast, obviously.
Yeah, but if you told the licensor that you were limiting something, my first reaction is that the licensor would say, why are you limiting that? You're limiting my ability to make revenue. Because if you said you were giving somebody, I don't know, pick any number you want, $10 a game, and you guarantee $10,000 for the license, that's 1,000 games, and they made their minimum guarantee, they don't want to make the minimum guarantee. They want to make a lot of money over the minimum guarantee. The minimum guarantee is just getting in the door. So I would think that licensor, if you did something like that, that licensor would say something like, what do we need these people for? If we license it to somebody else, maybe they made 2,000 games and we made 20 grand instead of 10 grand. So selling yourself short probably has some consequences at some point, I think.
Especially if you're doing the iterative process that you were describing earlier, the back and forth with them, and taking up a considerable amount of their time, an amount of your time in order to produce this game, and then you're only going to do 1,000 of them. That's certainly not worth their while.
That's right. And that's why the price of pinball licenses has gone up. Not just because there's competition, but because they realize that it's a process that takes a long time to do. And a lot of companies want to do it. They don't mind the time, but you have legal people involved, you have staff people involved, you have management people involved, and they're all engaged with this product. They're all excited about the product, but they're spending a lot of time, reviewing things and commenting on things. And it's just
you end up using a huge amount of their assets in your games now compared to what a much simpler game would have been from the 90s or the 2000s. You would have only had like some voice calls, a bit of music, and some artwork, and that would have been it. Right. Now you've got to use video, you've got to use music, you've got to use loads of voice calls, preferably custom ones as well. It's a lot more involved, and it obviously takes a lot more time to get that all cleared through the licensor.
Yeah, and then when you ask Elton John to do voice calls.
Yes, I've heard the recording. Yes.
And you go on a little bit. You go, I got all of this stuff now. Let me get some more. Let me get some more. There's no end to it. And the people that work for Jersey Jack Pinball, they have no limit on anything. They want more. They want more. They want more. There's no end to what they want. And you try to supply it, because I believe the more assets we get, the better game we can make. But the longer it takes too. If we added an extra song or two to a game, you have all the modes, the light shows, the choreography, and everything that goes into it. It's a big production. It went from a high school play to a Broadway production when I did Wizard of Oz. It took it to a whole different level.
Right. And the market has never been the same since then. So
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. So to bring us back to where we started then, with the 15th anniversary or birthday of your announcement of the company. Just on that point, when you actually went public with your plans on the 1st of January 2011, where was the company at that point? How much advanced work had you done before you were actually willing to go public and announce what your plans were?
Well, I spent a good part of 2010, trying to figure out if this was something that I wanted to do. And there were a lot of people that were encouraging me to do it. Start a pinball company. It'll be fun. Okay. That sounds good. Take money from customers, deposits. That'll work out. That'll be fun. It was just an idea. It really was an idea. There was no structure to anything yet. There was no building rented. There were no people working for a company. It wasn't like we were going to have a game in a week or two. I was kind of blinded with rose-colored glasses because I believed it would be easier. I knew it would be hard, but I didn't think it would be that hard. And I guess when you get into it, you don't know. When the water's cold, you jump in and the water's cold. Come on in, the water's cold. Well, the water was cold, but I warmed up to it pretty quickly. You have to, when you're an entrepreneurial thinker and you want to do something in an industry that, let's face it, I was in the industry 36 years at the time. So I knew what it was. I mean, I was on the floor of the factory at Stern at 10 o'clock at night with Gary, picking up screws, throwing them into bins to save pennies. So I knew what it was, but when you see it from a distance, watching the train on the track is different than getting hit by the train on the track. You're in a whole different thing altogether. And once I got into it, failure was not an option. The only way I would lose is if I quit, and I wasn't going to lose, and I wasn't going to quit. And we had a lot of people cheering us on, and then there were a few miserable people along the road that were trying to dig holes for us to fall into. And that's life. That's what it would be. It would be the same if I opened a can opener company or something like that, and I was competing against somebody that had a big can opener company. Competition is what really made this market. Having one company do anything is not healthy for a market. And I was told that there wasn't enough business for two companies, that both companies would be out of business, and I didn't believe that. I believed that we would make a new market and make a new customer base and expand the existing customer base. And that's what happened. I was glad that I saw the side of it that was the positive side of it.
And 15 years on, how do you see the market now?
Well, the market right now is all mixed up because there are distributors have too many games in stock that they can't sell. And something's going to happen with that. What could possibly happen? Could the game prices go down on these games that are less desirable to own? Maybe. My distributors aren't stuffed up with Jersey Jack games. There's very few of our games out in the field that are in people's stock right now. And I think through this year, hopefully the economy will get a little bit better. Interest rates will come down a little bit. The tax laws change. Maybe people will get some good refunds, and they'll be in the mood to go buy a pinball machine. But it's going to be difficult for some of the other companies to stay in there, because if you're building something that's not as good as a used game that's in the market right now, don't build it. Don't build a game that's not the best thing that you could possibly make that could compete in the marketplace today. It's a hard thing for me to say because I encourage everybody. I wish everybody the best. I don't wish anybody anything bad or that they have trouble with their business. I want them to all do great. So everybody has to find their own lane, their own customer base. Some people like this kind of game. Some people like that kind of game. And I think there's enough out there. As long as we keep continuing to expand the base of players, we'll be fine. And at Expo, when I asked people to put the hand up if it's the first show or the first time, a lot of hands went up. So a lot of new people coming into the hobby. So it's good. I think it's going to be good. Be positive about pinball. Spread the good word of it. Have those parties, those launch parties, open houses. have events where you could teach other people, invite other people to come and play your games, and that's how you expand it. People that I sell games to, and they might be in the middle of nowhere and they don't know how to fix a game. I get them a local pinball club or local pinball bar or venue that has games, and I say, go meet the people there. Go to league night. Go introduce yourself. You'll have 50 new friends overnight. And if you have a problem with your game, 49 of them know how to fix it. Just get some beers, and they'll open your game up, and they'll be playing the game at your house, and you'll have fun, and you build community.
Well, thanks very much, Jack, for taking time out to speak to us on this 15th anniversary of the announcement of Jersey Jack Pinball. And some interesting details coming out of there, as always. And we always enjoy talking to Jack. Having a particular reason to do it this month was extra special. So, again, congratulations to him and everybody who's been involved with the development of the games over the years.
Yes. So, and we'll be touching on Jersey Jack Pinball later on a little bit as we go over the rumored expected games for 2026.
How exciting.
So
I can hardly wait.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. So.
Okay. So in the meantime, we'll talk about code earlier in quite some depth. Well, our latest update from Pinball Brothers includes new code for their Predator pinball game version 0.95, which came out just before the end of the year, on 30th of December. So a nice New Year gift. Adds full loot multi-ball, which is qualified by collecting the binoculars, knife, ramp, badge, and torch. And an ambush award for completing the top drop targets. And there are quite a few other features and rule changes, of course, including the knocker sound effect. Not a real knocker in it, a sound effect. And the rebalancing of various sounds and music within the game. It says the version 0.95 only comes with the staged flippers activated. And remember, staged flippers are where you can half press the flippers and activate the main the upper flippers. No, the main flippers, right. And then press it fully and activate the upper. So you can hold the ball on the main flippers while operating the upper ones separately. But this version 0.5 only comes with the stage flippers activated. And it says if you don't have stage flippers, please contact support to have stage flippers sorted before updating. So right. I guess that's something which was added later in the Predator production. So sounds like a nice feature to have anyway. But nice. Predator 0.95 getting close to being fully feature complete. Not too far now.
Right. Yes. Well, and then it's from Pinball Brothers. It's a small step to Pedretti Gaming as they are working together rather close. And Pedretti in Euro Pinball Corp is building the Predator games. So, Pedretti Gaming sent out a sort of a press release, I would say, although it wasn't. If it would be a press release, then never mind. They sent out a notification that they teamed up with Artherio Games, a long-term collaboration agreement for the development of software and video content for Pedretti's upcoming pinball titles. Now, you might wonder, Artherio Games, where have I heard that before? Or who's
you heard
running
that before? Yes.
Well, that's the other thing. I had never heard of it before. But the main man running Artherio Games is Sam Zaire, and that is a familiar name. He used to work at Capcom. He's credited for programming on Pinball Magic, I believe, and I'm not sure how long he worked for Capcom.
2 years, I think, 94 to 96.
Right. Okay. So, and that ties in with another rumor, possibly, which we will get to later on. But so basically, Sam Zaire is going to be writing code for upcoming Pedretti games. That's basically what it comes down to. So, long story short.
Yeah, he's got a lot of history in coin-op. He worked for Konami, Midway, Incredible Technologies, and Play Mechanics as well.
Right. Yes.
Prior to founding his own company in 2006, Artherio Games. Which, the announcement from Pedretti said everyone will be familiar with Artherio Games, and I thought, are they? So anyway, we did some research and found out some background, and it looks like a good fit for the company. Obviously, they, as we announced recently, Pedretti are using the fast hardware system, as indeed are Pinball Brothers now going forward. Previously, the software, well, certainly much of the software that for Pedretti games had come from Team Pinball, based in South Wales. But I know that they were looking to change over to a different software designers, and I don't think Team Pinball had a desire to continue carrying on beyond the games that they're already contracted for. But yes, it is interesting that that Sam did work for Capcom, which could be useful, as you said. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yes. And that's all the news we have from Pedretti Pinball.
Indeed. So let's go to American Pinball in Streamwood. Yeah. They have revealed a new company logo, but we don't know whether it's actually just something they've done for the holiday season, or whether it is ongoing. But there has a new logo with the tagline "Play the Adventure" under American Pinball wording. Yeah, it's not an interesting logo. It seems to have like colours, red, white, and blue through the pinball part, but it also kind of looks a bit like the Dutch flag to me. But and I think other people have commented on that as well. It was interesting that
indeed it does.
They said, on Facebook they said our team is excited for the new year with many announcements coming soon. So lots of exclamation marks there. So it must be good. And it was interesting as well that they also published a video. Well, Ron Lindemann from American Pinball, who seems to be kind of running the show there pretty much at the moment. He recorded a video, looked like he recorded it at home, but which basically said, wishing everybody a happy new year and happy holidays, and looking forward to 2026 with lots of big announcements coming. So we look forward to those as well. He did say he was going to be going on to some podcasts this year. So we look forward to interviewing Ron a little bit later in 2026.
He also said they would be attending quite a few pinball shows, including Texas Pinball Festival in March. So hopefully we will be there as well, and we can find out what those announcements are going to be.
Yeah, although they were at Pinball Expo as well and didn't have any new pinball related announcements. Although Orbit Games had some new titles there, which is their parent company, it seems. But it does seem a little bit confusing still about exactly what the structure is, what they're planning to do, and basically what games they're working on, if any, at the moment. But we hope to clarify that, and maybe we can get Ron on, and we can bring you that clarification.
Right. So but it's going to take a while. But okay, all right. Mm-hmm. So anyway, you did comment on that new logo with the flippers being in a rather odd position, according to you.
Yeah. Well, that's something which they put on the top of their Facebook banner. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily their logo, but it seemed to be incorporating their new logo with some rather strange shaped flippers with that didn't look tapered and appeared to have pivots at the wrong end. But hey, not read too much into that. I guess it was probably a bit of a rush job. But I had noticed that I think it was yesterday when I was going through their website, they still had their old American Pinball logo as their company logo next to all their posts. Today, when I had a look, it changed to the new logo with the one which they have the Play the Adventure with. So maybe it's more of a long-term thing.
So people are still working on things.
Well, somebody's working on something. Yes, indeed. Yeah, they changed that over.
All right. Oh, well. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, well, that rounds it up for American Pinball. We hope to see a new game from them, as they announced earlier on that there would be a new game from them this year, and it would not be Cuphead. So we're very curious to find out more about that, but we'll see. The year is just very fresh.
Yes, and we're looking back at December and just the first couple of days of it as well. So
right,
there's a lot in store for 2026. But
so do we have any news from finishing off with American Pinball? Turner Pinball, do we have any news from them?
Not a lot. Been pretty quiet period for them. Still working on their Mullins arcade game, or building those, but have been streaming their games every Thursday on their website and social media channels. Took a pause for Christmas and New Year, but starting again on Thursday, the 8th of January. So every Thursday, check out Turner Pinball. If you want to see both Merlin's Arcade and Ninja Eclipse games and get some insights into the best ways to play those.
Right. Okay. So then we have Chicago Gaming.
Yeah. Basically looking forward to what they plan to do in 2026. Now, of course, they are somewhat known for having dates that slip. When it comes to fulfilling orders and pre-orders, but at the moment they are orders are being taken for upgrades coming in 2026 in the third quarter. So that's basically start of the second half of the year. So that is for the these are both for Medieval Madness remakes. The King of Pain topper, remember that's a beautifully modelled king with the trolls on either side. That's now available for pre-order for $999. Again, hitting the $1,000 price for static toppers because they don't move, but it's lighting effects on it. And if you have an MMR Medieval Madness remake kit that doesn't have the RGB lighting in it, you can purchase that kit for $500 for again third quarter 2026 delivery at the moment.
Right. So that does lead me to mentioning that apparently Chicago Gaming is listening to demand from potential customers asking to start selling the King of Pain topper separately.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And well, it makes a lot of sense. As Stern have been showing for many years that if people are clamoring for toppers for their games, you'd be daft not to fulfill that demand, especially when you can charge $1,000 for it.
Right. So, and I also understand we might be getting more Medieval Madness Merlin editions in the second quarter of 2026.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in the April, May, June period, some more Medieval Madness Merlins, as you said. So good news if you were hoping to buy one of those and missed out so far.
Right. So and there's a little bit of more news on a possibly upcoming game from Chicago Gaming later on, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, so moving over to Wonderland Amusements, who remember doing their 80% size Alice game themselves, called Alice Goes to Wonderland. You typing something?
Yeah, I am.
I can hear it.
I'm typing so loud.
Yes. It must be exciting. I look forward to reading it when it eventually comes out. So Alice Goes to Wonderland game was available briefly at the start of December for a $200 discount off the full price, which is $11,999. No, $1,100. Yeah, is that right? $1,199. Yeah.
Yeah. No. 1,199.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it was available for $200 less than that. Anyway, at the start of December.
So basically for 1,000.
Yes, $999 total. But that offer was finished on the 5th of December. So whether it will be repeated anymore, we don't know. But there was a certain amount of talk that was the price they originally wanted to hit when they launched the game. That was sub $1,000 price or $1,000 price tag maximum. But then due to increases and tariffs and things like that, the full price is now 200 more than that. But in honouring that initial price, they reduced it back down to $999 at the start of December. But maybe they'll do that again. Maybe they won't. Either way, it's that offer is ended. So keep an eye out on Wonderland Amusements to see if they offer it again.
Right. Okay. So, and then there's a bunch of companies that we do not have that much to report on.
Yeah. Or indeed anything.
So we're gonna. Well, yeah. So we're gonna do this really quick. Hexa Pinball in France, no news.
Nope.
Vector Pinball in Australia, also no news. Home Pin in Taiwan, well, this is rather disappointing, but I was really hoping to hear from them, but no news. Their latest game, Blues Brothers. You might think they would be working on something new in the meantime, but, like I said, no news from them so far. So they could be working on something, but we don't know what it is.
That's right. Also, no news from Pinball Adventures in Canada. It was a year ago that Andrew posted that the playfield and cabinet for Elements just needed a few more tweaks before it's ready to play, and the code is 100% done. But since then, nothing.
Well, I guess few more tweaks is a relative. How do you call it?
Yeah. Some tweaks take longer than others, but yes, we already reported that they were going to be taking a lot more. This is Pinball Adventures. We'll be taking a lot more relaxed attitude to releasing games, and true to their word, nothing this month again.
Nothing last year.
Well, no, quite. Elsewhere.
Ramps Pinball. We haven't actually heard anything from them since Pinball at the Beach last year, but who knows? They might be back in February at the same event. So looking forward to that for their vacation road trip game.
Ramp road trip.
And then no news from Bitronic, and even worse, they're not listed to be appearing at EAG Expo either.
No. So, and we already know that Pinball Heaven are not going to be there, and I don't think Retro Arcade Specialists are there either. So it might be a bit thin on the old pinball ground for this year's show. But hey, we'll see. We'll both be there, won't we?
We will, yes. Well, that depends. Snowfall has basically delayed a lot of in and outgoing flights from the Netherlands to the rest of Europe. So, if it continues to snow, and the forecasts say that it at least for another week, that might put things in jeopardy a little bit for me, but. For now, I'm still expecting to be there.
Yes, we're looking forward to seeing you in London. But carrying on with our no news section.
Cardona Pinball.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, too quick, but I know.
Wow.
The same goes for STR Pinball in Spain and Quetzal Pinball in Spain, although I do know they're working on something really, really cool.
Yeah, but again, these things seem to take so long, don't they?
Yeah. So, and this brings us to the other news section.
Yeah.
Well, we already mentioned the EAG Expo this month.
Yep.
Which is the 13th to the 15th of January, I think. Something like that. That week, anyway.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah. I will be there on the Wednesday. I think you're going to be on the Wednesday as well, or planning to be, if flights permitting. And snow permitting. Yeah. So we will see what we can bring back from that show. Certainly in the past, we've had a good opportunity to sit down with Stern Pinball in their conference room.
Well, I'm definitely aiming to sit down with John Buscaglia if he's available and not being haunted by everybody asking him to give away a free pinball machine.
Perhaps we should have signs printed up that people can hold around the Stern stand, and pinball sweepstake for Europe now.
Please.
Yeah, what do we want?
Be nice.
When do we want it?
Please. We'll be marching in the corridors.
Yes, that's right. So anyway, yes, as you say, we pretty much covered it. EAG Expo look ahead for this month, but there is some more news of rumored pinball titles that are coming up, which we have been talking about.
Yes, indeed. And the first one is the news is coming from France, but it's regarding a new company based in Switzerland, apparently close to the French border, because they're planning to operate from both Switzerland and France. But this new company called World Pinball is apparently building or designing a Resident Evil pinball machine for the 30th anniversary of the game.
The video game, not the
video game.
Not the movie.
Yes. No, and production apparently is limited to 300 units only. Well, there's not a lot to mention. There's no pictures yet. All we know is there will be 4 flippers in the game, 5 magnets, and 4 metal ramps. It was discussed on a French podcast by this guy, Paris Pinball Adept, which is Guillaume Faux. But it was all in French, so I quickly skipped that. Yeah, and there were rumors that they were teaming up with another pinball company, but that's apparently not the case. Do you know more about that?
Well, the initial announcement or initial report from Paris Pinball Addict, thank you for that, did say that they were going to be building the game in France, in Bordeaux, and then immediately you think, oh, hang on, who do we know who's in Bordeaux in France building pinball games? Well, that would be Hexa Pinball. But apparently it's not them, and they are setting up their own premises in both in Switzerland, as you said, and in Chalon-de-Saône in France. And the final plant could be anywhere, basically. So we don't know that they are. The game's supposed to be announced in March, and but they're because of the license with Resident Evil, they're having to wait until they get the license or approval before they can actually announce anything officially. So this is just a little tease of if you're interested in getting a Resident Evil game, then you shouldn't have to wait too much longer before you can find out details of it. But as you said, only 300 machines.
Yes.
In total. So
not a lot. Yes.
Not a lot.
There's a special website for. Yeah, there's a special website, I think, from the top of my head, residentevilpinball.com.
Very good.
But that's other than there's not much on there, basically. I couldn't find anything that would be that would teach me more about the game other than that it has to do with the 30th anniversary of the game. And
okay.
Oh well.
Well, that's probably more than a rumor. It sounds like it's actually work is underway on that game, but we do have some to be able to report some rumors that are circulating on other companies' future titles. And I'll pass that over to you.
Yeah, well, just for the record, and as everybody knows, we're usually not discussing rumors, but the fact is these are rumors, and since it's the beginning of the year, I figured it would be nice to make a little list of what is rumored that we might be seeing this year. And, well, we all know a lot of times these rumors actually do come true.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to come back at the end of the year and see which ones actually did materialize into real games.
Oh, we should have done that this year for 2025.
Well,
Damn.
We'll start the tradition now.
Right. Okay, well, so for Stern Pinball, as mentioned earlier, Pokemon is rumored, a Jack Danger design finished by George Gomez, as well as Transformers by John Bork, based on the cartoons of the game, and Keith Elwin is supposed to be working on Fallout. And
based on the video game.
Might as well, yes. And we might also see a remastered game, which is heavily rumored to be AC/DC. So that could be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be in line with Metallica and
Walking Dead.
Yes, and Elvira. Was that Elvira? No. Oh,
not
well,
yet.
Never mind. So for Jersey Jack, rumored is Sonic the Hedgehog, which would be a Steve Ritchie design. Personally, I'm not sure whether what to think of that, because I'm not sure how Steve Ritchie feels about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
And I do know, or I have been told that Jersey Jack did get the license for Sonic the Hedgehog, but that none of the designers at the time at Jersey Jack would be interested or were interested in designing a game for that, as that was, of course, Ryan McQuaid's game that got him hired at American Pinball, and they were very close with Ryan McQuaid. So I'm not sure what to think of that rumor. On the other hand, well, sometimes you have to do the game you're told to do instead of the game that you might be interested in.
As we heard from Jack about their future plans. But this is interesting to see the sort of drift towards maybe away from music games, more towards video game themed games. You know, we talked about Pokemon and Fallout with Stern. Jersey Jack doing similar.
Resident Evil,
yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, Jersey Jack was doing a Sonic game that would tie in with that, and there's more from in our rumor list.
Well, in our rumor list, next on my in my list is Chicago Gaming / Play Mechanics, who are rumored to be working on a Halo themed pinball machine. And that would be a Mark Ritchie design with some former. Well, Mark Ritchie already did Pulp Fiction, of course, but I guess it's safe to say that Josh Sharp would be involved in some way. And I hear that Tim Sexton is working over there, who's a former coder for Stern Pinball, so it would make sense to have him involved as well.
Indeed, yeah. Okay, so that's a rumor from them.
Yes, and then for Spooky Pinball, well, so this is interesting because we all know that Spooky is, I wouldn't say they're a one-game company, but they do usually one game a year, and that takes up the production for the rest of the year. But I got 4 titles rumored to be coming from Spooky Pinball.
Okay.
Being Goonies, Gremlins, Motorhead, which we've already seen a...
that was Dave Peck's design.
Yes, and his daughter is working.
Yeah, Danny's working there.
Spooky. Yeah. And South Park.
Yeah.
Which could be interesting.
It'd be nice to get an updated South Park game.
Right. From what I hear, South Park is even the old Sega game from '98 is still a great earner on location for many operators.
I think it is. So, yeah.
Okay. So and then we have of course Pedretti Gaming, who they already sort of revealed their Ligabue game based around the Italian rock band. which is more of a title for Italy only, I suppose.
I think so.
Although Ligabue is touring Europe and doing sold-out shows in the Netherlands as well, so it's not a completely unknown name.
Okay.
But I don't think it will lead to many games being exported outside of Italy.
No.
And other rumored titles are Tales of the Arabian Nights,
Remake,
Theater of Magic,
Remake.
and Big Bang Bar, which would tie in with Sam Zaire from formerly Capcom working now with Pedretti Gaming. Yeah. But then again, could be that they need him for entirely different things, and just his expertise, not so much his expertise working at Capcom. Then for Dutch Pinball, well, we know that DPX is coming up with Retro Atomic Zombie Adventureland, and for Dutch Pinball itself, their second title has been rumored to be Back to the Future.
Yeah, for a long, long time.
Yes. So hopefully we'll get to see that somewhere this year. Although we don't know yet how big the production of Retro Atomic Zombie Adventureland is going to be, but that might take up the rest of 2026.
Yeah, I think Melvin said originally that they were planning to, or Dutch Pinball were planning to reveal Back to the Future or whatever their second title is at Pinball Expo this year.
Right. Okay, that doesn't mean production is starting right
away.
No,
doesn't. No, I'm sure they must have had enough time to work on prototypes that they can bring, or sample games that they could bring to help promote the game and launch it.
Right. Okay, and we also discussed Hexa Pinball. They already announced the Three Musketeers, and they're hoping to bring working prototypes to the Texas Pinball Festival show, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. Yep. So, which they already said is not based on any films or cartoons of the theme. That they're creating all their own content for that.
Yes. So, and last but not least, apparently, there are two new US-based companies expected to announce their first games as well somewhere this year. So, quite a long list. And if you talk about overkill in the pinball market,
yes,
there's a lot of games coming.
Yes, I'd be interested to see whether the market is as big as that list of upcoming titles would suggest. You know, it's quite a difficult market to launch into, I'd have thought now. Not because there's one dominant company like there was when Jack started up, as he was saying.
I was going to say, it's not like 15 years ago.
No, it was the exact opposite. And now so many companies in there, it's almost hard to get your voice heard if you launch a new title.
Right. Yeah. So, and from So, that's the list I made so far of upcoming titles. I may have missed one or two companies. Like I said, I know that Quetzal is working on a new game, not necessarily to be produced by Bitronic.
No.
We're still waiting for Bitronic to actually ramp up production for Tokyo Perfect Drift.
Yeah, we've seen lots of machines, an awful lot of cabinets and machines in production. We just don't know where they've all gone. We just haven't seen them.
Spain.
Well, maybe
they never left the country. Yeah.
Well,
so
it'd be nice if they actually did make them and they're out there somewhere. But
so not in the list is of course Pinball Adventures, who are working on Elements.
Well, we don't know if they're working on it.
Well, they're sleeping on Elements.
Yeah, they had worked on it, but what's going to happen with that, we don't know. And of course, and as you said, we don't know what Homepin are working on either.
No, we don't. We know that Vector Pinball in Australia is working on several new things. We mentioned in the
Lost in Space
previous
was one of their
titles.
Exactly.
That's coming, but I yet have to see those games leave the Australian territory, so to speak, and cross over to Europe or America.
Yeah, I think they've basically been up until Lost in Space. They've been Australian themed titles, based on Holden cars, which isn't a brand outside Australia, and particular racing driver who's not unknown outside Australia.
Able Fury. Of course, nobody plays pool outside of Australia. We know.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Good point. Okay. Well, I think that rounds up our list of rumored titles coming up in 2026, and we will revisit this at this time next year and see exactly how true or false those rumors turned out to be. And if they're false, don't blame us. We're only reporting what's being rumored. We're not creating any rumors of our own. Although maybe we should. No, we shouldn't. No. Okay. So other news. You may remember we've spoken in the past about the annual Dispatch publication from Ryan Claytor and his Elephant Eater Comics brand. Well, those all got sent out, and the next item from Ryan is a new storage box to store the first and future editions of annual Dispatch publications. This is going to be an annual event, believe it or not, given the title. So this box should be able to store multiple copies of this year's, last year's, this year's, and future years editions of annual Dispatch. He's been showing some of the progress and development he's been doing on his website and on social media. The box isn't available just yet, but should be available soon through the Elephant Eater Comics website at elephanteater.com. So if you bought your annual Dispatch publication, which is like a tabloid size paper, and are looking for somewhere to store it, keep it safe outside, in addition to the protective cover that it comes in, you should soon be able to get a box for it.
Okay. Interesting.
And then other news.
Well, other news. Back to France. Our friends from Pinsound have launched their Eli. How do you pronounce it?
I don't know. Heliodot. I'm guessing.
Heliodot. Yeah, that's a replacement dot matrix display with orange LEDs with a high refresh rate to eliminate flicker on video cameras. Oh, so clever.
Yeah.
So if you're streaming your old dot matrix display games, then this might be interesting for you to make sure that you get the right animations on camera.
Yes, they haven't got that roll bar running through it, and all animations are torn. It's still the original 128 by 32 dot matrix resolution. Uses individual LEDs, so it's not like the color DMD where it can smooth that using an LCD screen. These are actual LED dots. It's priced at £159.95 UK pounds, but that's all I could get because it's one of those websites that automatically converts your local currency, and you can't see the price in other countries, even if you use a VPN. It didn't seem to work. So I wanted to see what the original price was in those US dollars, but there was a 10% discount that was available at the launch. I think it was only for the first 20 units. I think it's expired. But anyway, interesting new product from Pinsound with a replacement DMD display in just an orange. No other colours currently available.
Okay.
And that's it, I think, from our other news section, unless Jonathan is typing in any new ones right now.
I'm trying to look up the Pinsound website. Can't find it.
Oh dear. Okay. Hopefully it's still out there. It's just your connection. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be available, and we will expect to see them probably at the Texas Pinball Festival, if not sooner.
Yeah, it's always nice to catch up with Nicholas.
Yeah.
Even if it's only for just 20 minutes.
Yes. Well, I'm sure we'll probably end up going out for some barbecue somewhere.
Not with Nicholas.
Oh, no, that's true. No.
And that has more to do with his eating diet, I would, or preferences, whatever you want to call it. So
yes.
And And I'm definitely eating barbecue, or at least the meat that was on it.
Yes, assuming you make it to Texas, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Ooh, hard eight pinball. Hard eight barbecue. Sorry.
I thought that was no longer the place to go to, and there was
no, it's well, we've seen it.
Okay, right. Anyway, moving on. I think we've pretty much covered all the news in the pinball industry in December 2025, and the first couple of days,
and some. Yeah, and we had a great interview with Jack, of course.
Yes, big thanks to Jack for helping to celebrate the 15th anniversary of the announcement of his company. We always enjoy talking to Jack, and always good fun, and we have a great time. So anyway, we'll be back then at the start of February 2026, in a whole month's time, with our very next PINcast, looking back at all the events in the pinball industry throughout this month of January. So,
including EAG Expo,
including any news that comes out of there, and who knows, we may have a special interview from that, or two. You never know. So until then, from me, Martin Aeb of Pinball News,
and me, Jonathan Houston of Pinball Magazine,
we wish you more J's, a joyous January, and look forward to joining you again starting next month for the next edition of the Pinball Industry News PINcast. So, bye for now.
Bye-bye.